Hey, what's happening? This is Snake from Skid Row, and you're watching RAMzine.
So, United World Rebellion Trilogy, Chapter 1. First release in a little while? Just a little while?
Yeah. 7 years, for God's sakes.
Yeah, a little bit of time. How did it all come to be? How did it end up being that period of time? What was the process?
Life travels pretty fast these days, I guess, you know. We didn't even really realize it until at some point, I'm not even quite sure who brought it up, or we were like, man, we should probably think about making another record. And it was like, oh, when we realized how long it had been, we were...
You'd be kind of gobsmacked.
It was kind of embarrassing, you know? But we've been touring constantly since we started up again in late 1999 and 2000. It's been nonstop for the band, and so I guess we just lost track of time somehow. And then there came a point where we just, you know, we needed to say something. We had something to say. But then we had to figure out, you know, the world in this day and age as far as how to release music and how to sort of navigate through everything that's going out there now. Because there's so much information coming at you from so many different angles.
About that, yeah.
And it makes it really, really difficult for people to discover music, be it new music from old bands or new bands, new artists, whatever. And, you know, time is not a luxury that we have anymore. You know, everybody is like, you know, working 3 times as much for a third of the money. And it used to be that you had an hour to put on your headphones and check out a new band or a new record from a band that you love. Those days are gone, you know, it just doesn't exist anymore. So we wanted to do something that was both worked for us creatively and worked for us in the sense that we wouldn't be putting undue amounts of pressure on ourselves as songwriters and as far as touring the band and stuff. And we felt that we, most importantly, wanted to keep it sort of short and sweet. Give the people just enough, but not too much where it's sensory overload. And it seemed to works the best for us right now. And again, it doesn't break the bank for the consumer as far as you know, having to dole money out, and it keeps everything for us really fresh. And there's an immediacy to it and an urgency to it as well, where we didn't like write 25 songs and we're just putting them out in increments.
Does it keep the momentum for you? Like keeps it
I think
all kind
so.
of fresh? And
It's really cool to be able to go out and tour for, you know, like 8 months to 10 months or 12 months, whatever, and then kind of come back home and you're not all that burnt out. I mean, there's a little burnout, but you take a little time off and then you get right back into it again. And that feels really good right now for us for some reason. We've never done it like that before. We've always been on these crazy touring cycles. So for us to kind of give ourselves sort of a break in a sense, but not really. It's just, it just makes it for us. It keeps it exciting. And again, when you're writing like 10 songs for an EP, there's so much less pressure on you as a songwriter. It's weird. I never even thought about it, but it really is. And for me, this second EP was the most fun I've ever had making a Skid Row record.
Awesome.
Yeah, so after 20, you know, we've been making records for 25 years now, so to be able to have that happen at this advanced stage of life,
did you ever think that would happen? That like you top what you, like for you personally, top what you've done before?
No.
In that sense?
No, but the thing is too, is that there's a character that runs through, you know, like a thread that runs through all of us, that it has to be, what we're doing has to be substantial. It has to mean something. It has to say something. And it has to be genuine. And without all those things, then what's the point of doing it, you know?
Absolutely, yeah.
A lot of bands I shouldn't say a lot, but there are bands out there that just go out and make records because it's their obligation. I mean,
it's
we
just
have...
a mechanical process.
Yeah, and I don't. None of us fit into that mold.
It's not fun, is it?
It's not fun, and it's very workmanlike, which is fine. I'm a fan. You know, like, we work. There's no doubt about it.
Very much so, yeah.
But it's not. It almost seems 9 to 5-ish to me, and that's why we do this in the first place, was so we didn't have to work 9 to 5.
Yeah, absolutely.
You
Yeah.
know, so I guess I understand that a lot of people do it that way, but for us, it just couldn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And unless we have something to say and you know and there's passion in there and integrity, then there's no point in doing it if those things don't exist.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's the long of it.
That. Yeah, I can understand that. In The Rise of Damnation Army Chapter 2 on your trilogy, you covered Rats in the Cellar by Aerosmith.
Yeah.
Aerosmith.
Yeah, me too. All of us do, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was fantastic, and it was really good to hear you do it your
Thank
way.
you.
That was really good fun, you know, to have one band that you love doing another band that you love. It's like it was fantastic to hear.
It was an honor, and we that was really off the cuff. I mean, that
really,
yeah, it really was. I mean, that was there's not. I think if there's an overdub, there's one, and that would be me doing the outro solo, which was just one take, and that was it.
Wow.
But the vocals were you know, everything was really quick. It was very spontaneous, and it was, I mean, they took us on tour back in the day,
mm-hmm.
and we've always been such huge fans of them as a band and as people, and so that's us paying tribute. You know,
have they heard it? Have you spoken to them?
Oh, you know what? I don't know if they've heard it, because Tony, who was just up here, used to work with Aerosmith and still has very close ties with them. I don't know if he's gotten it to them yet. And we've been doing what we do that we kind of, you know, forgot.
Had that point where you could actually check out, or I'd love to know what they thought.
Yeah, me too.
But the albums and the EPs in general have been received really well so far. Single seems to be going really well.
Yeah.
Like you were saying earlier about how you know, doing it in a 3-part for you guys because it fits well for you and it keeps it fresh. Was it a difficult idea to push, like with promoters or producers or anybody like that?
No, I just think that. Well, initially people were like, "Really? Well, how do we place that in the marketplace?" I'm like, how do you place it in the marketplace? You put it in the store. You put it however you sell product these days. It doesn't change that at all. But what it does is, again, it gives a good price point for the consumer.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that when the labels understood that they'd be getting product more frequently
mm-hmm.
than in the past,
it's got that longevity to it.
Yeah, they came kind of got on board with it. You know, records nowadays don't have the shelf life that they used to.
Nah.
You know?
It's a very different place now, isn't it? Very different place.
We have short attention spans.
Yes. And no time, like you
yeah.
said. Yeah.
So it's, you know, again, is it the be all that ends all, or the solution? Who knows? But it works. It's working for us right now.
So far, it's working really well. Yeah.
And people seem to enjoy it. Like I said, it doesn't feel like, you know, you're getting ripped off by the artist.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully it leaves them wanting more.
Exactly. And then you can give it to them as opposed to that huge gap that you'd ordinarily get with an album.
Yeah, I mean, in this day and age, I mean, you know, visibility is more important now than it's ever been.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you're out of sight, you are out of mind quick.
Oh yeah,
you know?
Absolutely.
More so in the States than in the UK and
really?
Europe. Yeah. I think that it's people move quickly and away from something in the States.
Sort of chop and change.
Yeah, you know, it's sad to say though, but I think that music isn't as important as it once was.
Oh, that is sad.
Yeah, I know. Not to me and not to us,
of course.
obviously. That's what we do, but it just seems like it's taken, I hate to say a back seat, but a less prominent role in the fabric of people's lives.
What do you think's taken that place? Do you think it's just
Tech.
not having time, or is it just it's like computer
Technology.
like games and stuff?
Yeah,
and
technology.
ease of getting films and stuff like that?
Sensory overload, you
Mm-hmm.
know? I mean, it's tech. You know, software engineers are the new rock stars. You know, I mean, you come up with a great app, you're a superstar.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the way the world is turning right now. And you know, I don't lament the past in any way. So you know, you adapt or perish.
Move with it, don't you? Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
So, but the great thing is that we're still afforded the opportunity to play music.
Absolutely.
And so, given that, we're extremely humbled and thankful for that. You know, I get to sit here and talk to you and play a show tonight, which is incredible. I mean, here I am, you know, an ungodly amount of years after I started playing guitar, and I still get to play guitar for a living.
Yeah, absolutely.
Seriously, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, absolutely, it's awesome.
And I don't,
fantastic.
and that's something that we certainly don't take lightly, and it's really important for us. Something we think about. We're very, very conscious of every day. That I said it the other night too when we were on stage, and I woke up, I wasn't feeling good, and just and then I kind of was like, yeah, but man, I get to jam with my buddies.
I'm not working in an office. I'm not selling printers.
Yeah.
I'm out here playing the road.
It's pretty cool, man.
You guys have been around for a lot of my life. Like, I remember getting Music Magazine when I was quite young, and we were still getting the SPs, the little vinyls. And I still have the 18 and Life one. I loved all that stuff.
Me too. I loved them.
Missing now.
That was one of the great things that we always loved, even before we started the band. I was heavily influenced by the new wave of British heavy metal. So I used to get all my records at an import record store in New Jersey, and coincidentally, it was owned by the couple, John and Marcia Zazula, who started Megaforce Records.
Ah, okay.
And signed Metallica and signed Anthrax, and really sort of introduced me and all of my friends to the new wave of British heavy metal. So I was listening to Angel Witch and Iron Maiden and Tigers of Pentang and Samson and Judas Priest long before anybody else.
Long before they made it over there. Yeah.
And it was really what a discovery process. And one of the great things I loved was that as an import shop, he would get the picture discs and things like that.
Yes.
And that was, to me, that was the shit. That was the be all and ends all. So I certainly spent my last pennies buying those things. So those things were really important. So when we had the opportunity to do them when we first came over and stuff, we obviously jumped at the chance.
You went for it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's so great. I have a ton of them.
Me too.
Yeah.
So you can't give them up, can you? You can't sell those things.
Why would you?
In music and promotion, if you compare then, the 18 and Lifetimes, and when the records were on the front of magazines and stuff, to now, social media, people rushing, you were saying, how have you found that? Because it's quite hard hitting, I think, for someone trying to promote themselves. There's just a sea of music out there now.
Well, the one, you know what, and this is a word that sounds kind of sour, but it's not, is that there's no gatekeepers anymore. And just so I clarify it, so I'm not sounding like I'm banging the drum for days of yore, which I'm not. But what happened is that there was a heavy premium placed on quality and substance, and we were really fortunate. We had a bunch of people that surrounded us that were brutally honest with us, and really, really pushed us by just going, "It's good, but it's not great. Close, but it's not great. You're almost there. It's almost great." That made us work so much harder than maybe we initially would have, and pushed our work ethic into the stratosphere that we still maintain this day. So our standards we set the bar pretty high for ourselves, and that's not to say that people out there don't do that. Of course they do. There's great music being made all over the place. The problem that I have is that back in the day when we had that, when there were people putting a stop button on certain things and saying, okay, it's not ready yet to be put out there, make this better, people went back and made it better, and that's where you have these classic records that came from, because there were people either by their own doing or by the people that they trusted around them were constantly attempting to be better than they were at that particular moment. And that, we have such a freedom of a system that anything can get put out there, and
because you can do it yourself.
Yeah, and that's fine. I just wish people are more. In general, it seems that a lot of people are more enamored with the idea of having music out there than actually having great music out there. And so, for me, or for us, I should say, not me, but for us, we just really pay strict attention to making our music as good as it possibly can be. And at that particular moment, we're not just okay, we need a part for this song, okay, how about A, G, D, and we'll go blah blah blah, and it's perfect and it fits, and it's been done 7 million times, but we can get away with it. And the truth is that you can't, at least not to our own selves.
Yeah, you wouldn't release
that.
Yeah.
But the thing is that, it's simple physics. everything that gets put out there takes up space, you know?
Yeah.
Whether it's, you know, physical or audible,
mind or,
it takes up space, man. So when there's no sort of premium put on the substance and the quality of stuff, when it's just all about, you know, just getting stuff out there so you feel good about yourself, then I think that really, it sort of denigrates the whole art form.
Yeah, I'll go with that. You guys have toured a lot over the last, last few years, lots of years.
Yeah.
Any particular venues that really stick out for you? Is there anywhere that you're like, yeah, we're going back to that bar, that club, that venue?
Well, this last year has been really pretty amazing in a lot of ways. Is that we've got to play places and festivals and shows that we had never played before. Hellfest, Wacken, Download.
Yeah.
We played Donington back in the day, but never got a chance to do Download. Right. So that was really cool. It was like, all right, we were able to sort of, you know, walk the arc, if you will. And then we played a festival, the Polish Woodstock Festival, which I had no idea even existed. It's been around for 20-some years. 500,000 people. And we co-headlined it with Volbeat, and it was of biblical proportions, you know. It was crazy. So we had never been able to do that, things like that before. So this year has been one of those years of, I guess, of new discovery and
it shows you there's always something more. There's
it's
always
just,
something
it blows my mind after all this time we're still able to have experiences like that.
Absolutely.
Where it hasn't become mundane or anything. So, yeah, those are the things that kind of stand out at this point. And it's not so much the enormity of Polish Woodstock, but it's more like, again, like the new experiences and also being able to hang out with your buddies in other bands that you haven't seen in so long.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
You know, and play with other bands that you admire but you've never met. You know, we played some festivals in the States where we've played with the Deftones and Stained and people like that, and we've, you know, they're your peers, and you know, I love their music, and so you get a chance to hang out with them and see what they're like, and it's really awesome, and that community of musicians is really, it's strong, you know, and I love being a part of that.
So next question, off the back of that, do you ever actually get any downtime these days? I mean, like, now you started up again, it sounds like it's just like go,
yeah,
all the
not
time.
really. I mean, we'll have some time in December, so everybody can go home to their families and holidays and stuff like that. But not really, because I mean, I manage bands as well for and Whit, Doc, and Scott McGee, who managed us for, you know, nearly 20 years. And so that you know, that's kind of all encompassing between that and this.
So when you're not working, you're working.
Yeah, you know, I'm out here, you know, pretty much every waking moment. Thankfully, we have, you know, the internet and all that stuff, because if it wasn't for that, I'd be lost, you know, as far as being able to help these other bands I work with out. So yeah, it's not a lot of time off, but that's okay. I mean, that's, again, it's music. I get to
and it shows you're still enjoying yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, make the most, definitely. So last time we saw you in the South was at Mo Club in Southampton, as we said, which was pretty good fun. What can Bournemouth expect from you tonight?
It's, you know what, I mean, we're like, there's no frills with us. We're like an aggressive hard rock band that goes out there, and it's very evident that we enjoy what we do, and we're acutely aware of how important that audience is, and the fact that, you know, they could have done anything tonight. They could have gone anywhere in the world, but you know, anywhere.
But they're here.
They decided to buy a ticket and come here and see us, and that to us is the ultimate compliment and the ultimate form of flattery, and you have to respect that. And so we kind of go out there every night to pay tribute to the audience, and you know, we have a 25-year span of music that we get to choose from, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So I get asked quite a bit, you know, do you ever get bored playing, you know, whether it's 18 Life or I Remember You or Monkey Business or something? I'm just like, no, not at all.
Really?
Oh, no, not at all.
Still all the fun.
Love it. I mean, seeing a person sing back the lyric or...
That's exactly what I was going to say to you next, that feeling.
It's unreal.
Singing your songs back to you, that must be amazing.
Well, because that's when you start out. That's the goal, that you want to be able to reach people in some way through your music.
And obviously, with the span you've had since those sorts of hits, you're crossing like a couple of generations there as well.
It's crazy.
And it's not only people my age that's singing it back at you. It's like the young kids.
I know.
Everyone.
It's mind-boggling.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's really, really cool. It's kind of, and it seems that in some places we're kind of almost cool again. You know?
Yeah, you kind of the retro thing.
Kind of usurped the whole thing, and we became sort of cool again. So.
Yeah, totally. I don't know that proper 80s rock ever went uncool.
I would like to think that it hadn't, but there's a younger generation out there that is, far ahead, much more further ahead of the game than I am, and so to be able to sort of grab some of those people and bring them into the fold is pretty amazing.
Absolutely,
that you can still affect people on a level like that.
Yeah, there's a whole new generation of people still discovering what you're doing. This is probably going to be like the first for so many people.
That blows my mind.
After all this time.
Because I remember my first concert distinctly and my first album purchase, and so all it's things I still hold in such high regard. I mean, they're sacred.
Absolutely,
so, we're aware of that too. I mean, I guess, you garner some wisdom after doing this for half your life, touring the world. So, but to be able to know that might very well be the case, that there may be a kid out there it's his first time, going to see a band or a concert, or whatever. You better provide an amazing experience for that kid.
Yeah, get him into it.
Yeah, yeah,
Awesome.
totally.